everybody? Hey, welcome to Coast Connection. I'm on with my boy Brian Newton from Georgia, who used to play ball, former ball player from Georgia Southern. Before I get started, I want to give a shout out to Metro Diner because once again, I go out there and we hit our grub at Metro Diner down in Tampa. So if you're in the area, stop at Metro Diner. Brian, how are you doing, my brother?
I'm doing fantastic. How about yourself?
I am good. Me and Mike G down here in Tampa. You're down there in the Riverview area of Florida, enjoying life. It's a little cold today.
Yeah, a little cool this morning, for this Florida boy. I'm getting used to it though, but
Hey, so great having you on the show. We came on to talk about basketball. It's basketball season, and everybody's balling out right now. The high schools are going and the colleges are going. And so, you're a former college basketball player and you've started watching the evolution of basketball. Since you've graduated, what is your perspective kind of on, let's just talk about college football? Is the game more competitive? Or do you think that it's become more of an individual sport? Since LeBron James has changed teams 10 times. I'm just joking, but we're missing kind of where people did longevity of there was some loyalty to that team. So why do you think there's been such a flux to get away from just staying with one team 20 years into just moving around? So what's your thoughts on that, bro?
I think the transition and back when, back in the 80s and 70s and 80s, obviously a lot of players, Kareem and Dr. J, and they stayed with the team for years. But I think as time evolved and how focused the business is, as far as especially NBA, I think a lot of guys are looking out for themselves. And there's really nothing wrong with that. I think that we forget that the NBA is a business, and so that a lot of things that happen are transactional, and so you can't expect a player to stay with a team for 15 or 10 years and expect them to stay there and not have something given back to them. I mean, these guys are a lot of expected of them from the community. And so it's just not basketball that they're giving. They're giving a lot of themselves to the community. So they're giving back. And so it's nice that if these owners and GMs would give back to these players. And since that's not, then what's happening, free agency is, these guys are going out and seeing what it is that they can get on the market for themselves. And so I think from a basketball standpoint, I think it's made the game more competitive, in my opinion. I mean, I know, LeBron got a lot of heat back when he left Cleveland and went to Miami.
Absolutely.
And I think really the flack that he got was really how it happened. The fact that he left and went there and made a big deal out of it, I think the pomp and circumstance is really what caused a lot of people to have a lot of hate towards LeBron. But leaving all that aside, he's a great player, and every place that he's gone, he's had success. He's won a championship every place that he's gone.
That's great.
And so I think that when you look at a guy like him and other players that are putting themselves out in the market and kind of, looking to see what it is that they can get from other teams and then what can they bring to another team. So, they're going to another team to win games. And so I do think, in my opinion, that the game has gotten more competitive, especially from the NBA's perspective.
Okay, that's great because you just see it in the evolution of recently in the last couple of years. I actually in the 90s stopped watching basketball at the end of the 90s, early 2000s. I actually started picking it back up when Steph Curry came back into the league, which brings me to my next kind of question is, you played basketball in high school and then you went into college and played. So what do you think conceptually now when you look at it? I don't know, you can kind of let us know in the audience know about how your parents influenced you and whatever, but from your standpoint. But the key thing I want to bring up is, it used to be where, like me, I was a three-star athlete. I played three sports, whatever. Star, no, but played three sports. And now you look at basketball, and it's year round. It's freaking year round. There's no break for kids. And I don't know if you think that's a good thing, bad thing, but as you've looked at this evolution of high school basketball and AAU and all this, what's your take on the fact that there's like no break?
Um, I think because college basketball and recruiting is so competitive, and uh, individuals, guys, girls and boys want to go to a D1 school. And so that's kind of, when they first start playing in middle school, that's really what's being put into their head is to go to a D1 school. And so because it's so competitive, it basically has required this year-round basketball, not just playing during the season, but like you mentioned, during AAU during the spring and the summer. Now, I think it's great. I do think kids should get a break from basketball. It's just for a little while. But because recruiting is so competitive and these recruiters, um, they're going to these AAU games more so than they're going to a regular high school basketball game. Because at an AAU game, they can see all the best players all at once. So instead of going to this high school and going to this high school to see a game, they can just buy a ticket for $20 and watch games for a weekend, watching all the best basketball players in the area. But from my perspective, like when I was coming up, I never played AAU, to be quite honest, because there's a financial component into it. It's expensive. Basically, it's travel basketball. And so, I was raised by a single mother, and honestly, she didn't have the money to pay all of that money for me to play basketball.
Oh, I
Um,
understand. Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
so, so basically, a lot of my experience really came from the parks, and specifically, there was a park down the street from where I lived, and I was 12, 13 years old, and I was out there playing against grown men, and they were knocking me around, and I mean they were not taking any slack on me. And I really believe the fact that I was playing against these grown men really helped me and my game evolve to where when I got into high school, I could really hold my own, and especially in college. And so I really believe, like I said,
That's right.
uh,
The concrete
yeah,
jungle brings in 'cause
it's
Bootsy
it's
from the
it's it's
corner.
yeah,
He's got mad game, but you're like, no, this dude's got mad game, but he never played in college because Bootsy didn't study nothing.
exactly. And here I come, high school player, even playing in college, coming here, so they're trying to prove something against me. So,
Young buck,
so
young
yeah,
buck.
so yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh
But
yeah, hey, man.
but
Oh
I
yeah,
can appreciate. I've got a niece right now who's playing AAU. She's really good, and she's got some schools looking at her. But again, because it's so competitive these days, and it's just so many D1 scholarships that are going to be out there for you, and so you just have to do what you can to get them.
yeah, the numbers lower on D1 scholarships because of the amount of players you're on a basketball team. So you're not, I think the fallacy is everybody believes that everybody that's on the basketball team is on scholarship. Wrong, but I love the fact that but it did kind of help that you were 6'7", because I was only barely 6 foot, so I wasn't getting a lot of love back in the day. You had a pretty J, man. That's all I know. You had a good jump shot, man. That helps. Syracuse.
It took a lot of practice.
It was Coleman, wasn't it? It was Coleman
Yeah, Ronnie Cycli.
yeah,
Yeah,
Ron Stikesley. That's right.
yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah. Back in the day, was that
yeah.
86,
Absolutely.
87?
87, yeah. 87 NCAA tournament. Yeah.
Still remember, man. Still remember. So you said your niece is playing AAU, and I know it's really expensive. So You know, with that break that you're talking about, that you know the students need. See, my daughter plays competitive soccer, and at one point I used to tell her when June came around, I needed her not to play anything. I needed her literally to just decompress from soccer because they were going to pick it up back in August. Because I saw also, but the issue I saw was the wear and tear on the body.
Absolutely.
And so my question is your niece, does she have to kind of navigate that? Because the pull muscles do come, man, if they're not doing yoga, Tai Chi, or, you know, whatever, man. So is she having to manage that?
Yes, she is, because she's had some injuries that she's had to work through, and so she's definitely experiencing, that wear and tear on your body that basketball does. I mean, that running up and down. I mean, you're running basically miles a day, a weekend, playing these games. So it's definitely taken the wear on her body to where she's had to take it easy and take a break to give her body a chance to recover. So absolutely.
Yeah, she could be walking around like an uncle with a cane.
Yeah. Looking
Because
like me.
hey,
Walking around like Frankenstein.
Because I know I get up and I'd be like, why did I do it back in the day? I
Yeah.
told somebody the other day, I said, if I had been smart and not played basketball, I'd probably be walking a lot better these days because I have
Yeah.
no cartilage left in one of my right knees.
Well,
Oh yeah. So you're
uh,
looking at college now, right? And you think about what you played, and I'm sure it's like with me with ROTC now. I kind of go, they get like $500 a month for being in ROTC. And back in the 80s, we got $100. And I go, well, I could have done a lot of damage with $500
yeah,
back in the day.
right.
So
Right.
you're looking at people like Bryce Young and all these athletes right now that are getting this NIL money. And I mean, it's theoretically changing the landscape for basketball. I mean, you're pretty much starting to say college is semi-pro. Why do I need the D leagues? So, I mean, what's your take on the fact when you look at that comparison when you played, when it was Scott, and here's the comment. Well, you're on scholarship, so that's your paycheck. And and then, Reggie Bush opened that door and they went to the NCAA, and went to the Supreme Court and fought, hey, players are being franchised and not getting paid for their value. So now if you look back at it now from your standpoint, do you think NIL is a good thing, or you think that it needs to have better regulations? Because right now it's the Wild Wild West.
Yes, it is. It is the Wild Wild West, but I do believe overall it is a good thing. These guys are putting in a lot of time and a lot of practice, and plus they're going to school as well to keep their grades up, just to be in order to play. And so I think it's good that these players have been able to leverage their name and likeness in order to bring in some money. Now, in some cases, it's not a lot of money. I mean, it might be, going down to local Walmart and then, they're one of the guys putting his name on the back of a shirt and getting some money from that. So not everybody's making that Bryce Young money,
Oh,
but
absolutely.
but again, it does allow that player to leverage themselves and market themselves in order to make some money so that they can basically live. So a lot of these players aren't coming from wealthy backgrounds, as we know, and so a lot of these guys are coming in and not having anything, and so not even have enough for their parents to give them money just to go take their girlfriend or boyfriend out to the movie to get something to eat. And so when I was playing, the only thing that we had that actually put any money into my pocket was a Pell Grant, and you had to, yeah, we used to call it Charlie Pell back in the day,
That's
a Pell
right.
Grant, right? so I think it was $500 a semester. We were quarters back then, so you get $500 a quarter, and and me, I'd make that $500 last. So to me, I had a little beat up car, and so that was
I know, because
gas
you
money.
saved me with your car. Hey, man. Hey, when you took me to the emergency room, at least you had a car.
You remember? You remember that car well, don't you?
Got me to the
Yeah,
emergency room.
yeah, I got you there. Yes, 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 sir. And so, back then, like I said, the only thing I had was that to put money in my pocket, because the NCAA was really strict about getting any type of outside money. And so that was really the only thing we had. And again, you had to qualify for that. And so I think it is a good thing, as far as the name and likeness and how these players are able to use themselves to market themselves. I think as time goes forward and we kind of see how things shake out, I think there will be some policies and some guidelines in place as far as how they're able to do this to make it as as fair as fair as possible to these players, and again to allow them to be able to again to use them their themselves to make some money. So that
Well,
again, I think it's a really good thing,
well,
really
I
good.
think but I think one of the biggest challenges is that when you talk about D1s and how that money's playing out right now is like if you're not that franchise player or that person that's sitting on that cusp, then I see if they don't balance this out, there's going to be some resentment because you got players that are
Absolutely.
coming in on two sides, and this guy is getting all the sign-ins and he's making money. And naturally, and what we do when we don't have a lot, we default to buying things that we normally wouldn't have. So then you go from,
Absolutely.
like us driving hoopties or whatever we could get, because I remember my first car was $500, to you seeing these
Mine was
guys
400.
driving. And driving better cars than the faculty at the school. I deem that if they don't balance this out and start educating these kids how to use the money, there's a bigger problem down the road. Because I think financial education for people coming from low income means needs to be part of the process, so that when they graduate, they actually have something. So what's your take on the fact that we haven't done a really good job, even in the NBA started like 10 years ago, 12 years ago, but we haven't really did a good job of educating low income earners when they start making incomes, how to manage their money and not die broke.
I agree. I think that's where even the school system has fallen short. I feel that personal finance should be part of the curriculum, just like math, science, and biology, because we can see as you get into college, and what do they do as soon as you get in college? They're throwing a credit card application in front of your face before you even take a
Absolutely.
class. You're filling out an application to get a credit card, and you have no idea you know how to manage a checkbook, and somebody's giving you a credit card with a $1,500 credit balance on
And
it.
you
And
going,
so,
yeah, boy.
yeah, exactly. And so now, well, mom and dad is not telling me how to spend my money. Now I can do it myself. And so, I think from an education perspective, I think yes, that is definitely important. Part of this process is that they should have a personal finance uh, perspective put into this as far as education is concerned. And
Uh,
so I think if they do that, it'll definitely help this whole process that we've been talking about.
Yeah, because I look at the finances of it, and you hear the key things, and we could be here all day on personal finances because the rags to
Mhm.
riches to poor again stories are just out of control of the NBA. I mean, if somebody actually did a case study on from the 80s, late 70s, all the way to now on the collateral damage of so many ball players that could not manage money. I mean, even at my time at Georgia Southern, it was like because some of our parents don't know. My mom was
Right,
a medium, and it's a medium income family. My dad, stepdad was
hmm,
in the military, so there wasn't
right,
that balance. My mom's was from Jack's Quarters, Louisiana. It wasn't the mecca of all things. And so, like, me and her had this discussion years ago, and she was just like, I just didn't understand that we live in a capital system, Brian, and this is the funny thing. We live in a system that's capitalism, but we don't educate the people within the capital system how money works.
right. I do agree. And I think because we do live in a capitalistic society, I don't want to go too deep in the weeds in this, but I believe because the corporations are pretty much running things, and as we know, in order to keep our economy going, people have to spend money. And so we can see what's going on in our economy now. Now they're trying to, to slow things down by what? People losing their jobs and pretty much getting in a worse situation
And
to
raising
right
rent.
our economy, raising rent. Everything is exactly. And so I believe that if we, and I know there's several people that are doing, I know that you've done, I've watched some of your podcasts, and you've had some financial uh, uh, people that have come on and done some training on that as well.
Right.
And so it's really, like I said, if your parents don't know, sometimes you just get into a situation where you don't find out how to manage money until you've fallen off the cliff and lost everything that you have, and then that's when you learn. I mean, that's not the best way to go. The school of hard knocks. You really don't want to go that route to where you lose everything and then you figure out, okay, well, this is what I should have been doing. I mean, Mike Tyson is a perfect example of that.
Yeah, he was surrounded around the wrong people. Mike,
everything, and now he's living in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, and he's the happiest he's ever been in his life because he doesn't have much,
right? Because it's been taken from, but it was self-inflicted. Yeah,
exactly. It was self-inflicted. A lot of bad decisions. Absolutely.
Hey, so Mike, you got anything, man? Why you over there smiling all the time?
Welcome, Brian. How you doing? I just want to. You guys are sport heads. Me, I'm a baseball guy, a little bit here and there. But just a question. So, why do you think that players didn't take the blueprint of Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal, them for because they're implemented financially very well for many years already, and I know half of these guys get this money. Why don't the school implement investments or investment frame? What's your outlook on that? Because you guys play basketball, you play college, you know how it goes, right?
Yeah, I really don't. I think because the people that are around them, and I think that plays a key part in these guys. If they have the right people around them when they get this money, who are looking out for their best interests, then I think they're able to nurture them. I mean, if you're 19, 20, 21 years old and you're a multimillionaire, your mind, especially a young man, their mind isn't fully developed yet. So how can you expect, giving me a $21 million contract? I'm 19 years old, and you're gonna expect me to handle that money right. And I've got all of my boys around here that I grew up with who are just ready to just, leech off of me and say, oh yeah, yeah, buy that, yeah, yeah, buy me that, And so I think the key is, and especially Kobe, him having his parents around him, I think that really helped him when he was young to make some good, sound financial decisions. I know things went a little bit left when he got older, but when he was young,
yeah, memorabilia,
yeah, things but at the foundation of it, he was able to make some good financial decisions in the beginning. And so I think, and we were talking about Mike Tyson, I said the same thing, having people around you that really care about you and that can concern for your welfare and just not trying to leech off of you.
I mean, Allen Iverson. I mean, if it wasn't for his agent taking that $1 million and said, and when Allen signed for that big contract, his agent said, look, give me $1 million. And Allen's like, well, hell, I got, X amount of million. So here's $1 million. Well, it's nothing for me right now. So he gave him that $1 million, and Allen, thinking he's going to spend that money, he went and invested his money because he knew Allen was going to be broke down the road possibly, and that's what happened. And then when Allen turned around, that money had capitalized, and now he's got millions and millions of dollars in his later years that he's wiser, older, and he thinks that to this day he still thinks that agent, because that guy really loved him and looked out for him because he realized he was going down the wrong road. And so he saved him in the end. So, Allen Iverson got that money a couple of years ago, and he was like, that was the best gift he could have ever got. But everybody doesn't have somebody out there in their corner looking out for him like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So as you look at this going forward, and we talked about reshaping the sport, getting some more laws in place and trying to help younger athletes. I mean, so the thing is, have you ever thought about going back to like the high schools that you're in, the area that you're in? Because I'm about to throw a grenade on you anyway, and having you go and kind of be a guest speaker to some of the basketball team, which you're probably going to end up doing this year because you didn't know it was coming. But and then
exactly. I know it's coming.
So if you had to go talk to a team, what kind of things would you say and tell someone that, like, if there's somebody's watching this down the road in a couple of weeks and they wanted to watch this, what advice would you give a young person right now in high school? Because here's the thing, and I'll stop, but I have to say this, is that it's like the military. Here's the hierarchy, but there's only a small pyramid at the top. And the NBA is the pyramid. And when only 3% of 100,000 or 1 million basketball players in America are playing, kids that are playing basketball, only 5% to 1% will ever even lay sneakers up in the NBA, let alone get on the floor, which is percentage is even lower. What do you tell them? Now, I tell them all the time to follow their dreams, but they have to have some realistic expectations, especially if you're 5'9". But go ahead. But what would you tell them?
Right. I heard someone say this, and talking about realistic expectations. If someone, young player came to me and said, Brian, I want to play in the NBA someday. And I said, well, okay, that's great. It's great that you have that. And so what I would tell them is there's certain things that you will need in order to prepare yourself to play in the NBA. So first, your game. So obviously you need to work very hard, practice, train, take care of your body, eat correctly, no drugs. You're going to bed at a decent hour, and so you're taking care of yourself from the standpoint. And so you say that, okay, well, I want to be in the NBA. They'll say, well, how are you going to manage all that money? I said, well, the thing that you need to do now is learn how to manage that money that you're going to receive. So learn about investments, learn about personal finance, learn about the things that you need to know to manage that money, so that if you have an accountant or an agent and they're just putting some paper in front of you and you have no idea what those numbers mean, at least when you look, you'll know how to manage, how to look at a financial statement, how to, if someone's preparing your taxes, that what each one of those lines means. Just because somebody else is doing it doesn't mean that you don't have to know what's going on there. And so I say that if they want to go to the NBA, then what they're doing by saying that, they're doing things that are necessary in life. So education, taking care of themselves, financial education, they'll need that whether or not they go to the NBA or not. And so, yeah, they may be in their mind acting as if they're going to play in the NBA, but I would tell that young person, you need to do all the things that are necessary so that if you do get in the NBA one day, that you can actually be able to manage your money, manage your life, make sound decisions as well. But if you do not, if there's an injury, which I can attest to that, injury is the main that's going to derail any of that. So if an injury takes place, at least you have put in place an alternate route that where you can take care of yourself and your family when you become an adult. And so that's really what I would tell them as a young person. There's nothing wrong to have a dream, but unless you put some things behind it to prepare for that dream is really nothing but a fantasy. And so if you do all those things, like I said, if you get hurt or whatever, you still have done all those things necessary so that if you don't make the NBA or don't have that $1 million salary or even don't go overseas and play, at least you can be a productive young person in society.
Oh yeah, I like that. That's on point. Hey, so Brian, I appreciate you coming on. You are the best vibrant thing of life, and I appreciate you getting me to the hospital back in the day anyway, because you're a great man.
Hey.
You're a great American. Hey, so And so with that being said, man, we will have you on down the road here, and me and Mike always say, we'll get out of here. You got to keep it rolling.